Hi guys, this is Nikki Rowland for Hip Kit Club, and today I am making a layout using the really beautiful and fabulous August kits. So I have all the kits to play with this month. So I have the August main kit, the Pocket Life kit, the embellishment kit, and I also have the colour kit. And I am working with today's sketch challenge. So it is Sketch Friday today, and here is the sketch that I am using today, also designed by me. So obviously it's a fabulous sketch. My extra assignments for today are to make a monochrome layout. So for me, I interpreted that to be kind of lots of shades of one colour, and also to use punches or dies. So this sketch lends itself really well to border strips, so I'm using those at the top. I've pulled out a whole bunch of blue papers from the August kits. I couldn't believe how many different shades of blue were in this kit. So lots of the B-sides are blue. So that was the colour that I decided to go with. So I've got 6 different shades of blue along the top there. I've cut 1-inch strip of each of those patterns, and I'm just going along with my favourite border punch. It's a wide scallop, and it's one of my favourite ones. So I've cut that along every single one of those blue colours, and I am going to layer those across the top of a white piece of cardstock. So you can see that that's what I'm doing there. So what I'm just going to do now is just figure out where my photos are going to go. Now the sketch lends itself to 2 photos, but I've gone for 1 photo and a journaling card so that I can write my story on there. It also has a small amount of mixed media behind the photos. The colour kit this month, well, can you believe it? The colour kit for the last goodness knows how many months has always had a shade of blue in it, but this month no blue to be seen. I was going to use the purple, and then I figured that it just wouldn't look right with the whole monochrome theme going on. So I have gone for 2 Lindy's sprays that have come in previous colour kits. So the blue one, the dark blue that I'm just about to use now, came in last month's kit, so that was July, and the I think it was July, and then the greeny coloured one, which I think was March, or a turquoisey colour one, sorry, so they're blue, both blues. Now you might have noticed that I scorched the right side of my layout slightly with my heat tool, being impatient waiting for it to dry, so I've added some extra colour over that kind of scorch mark. You can see it over there to the right a little bit. Well, you'll be pleased to know that I covered that up with my photos anyway, so not a problem. So I'm just adding this small amount of mixed media. I've used white marshmallow cardstock so that it doesn't warp too much. It has warped a bit, but not too much. And I'm just going through, now that my background is dry, and adding some splatters in place. And annoyingly, I get a splatter right at the bottom of my layout there. Typical, you get a rogue one. So I'm just rubbing that off with a baby wipe. It doesn't come off completely, but it's pretty much good enough. There you go, that's my mixed media done. It's not a huge amount, it doesn't dominate the layout, but it just gives a small shadow behind the photos, so a small base behind the photos. So now I'm just going in and adding my border strips. So I'm still waiting for my splatters of my mixed media to dry, and while I'm doing that, I can get all of these border strips in place. I decided that the first position that I put that one in was a little bit too low, so I've now moved that up a bit. I've stuck tape along the straight edge of each one, and foam pads along the others. I like my layouts to have lots of dimension and different layers, and I like the layers all to show and have separation between them. So I'm a big old fan of foam pads, and now I use really quite small ones. They're 5mm by 5mm square, so they're really quite small. That's less than 1/4 inch square, they are quite diddy, and I even have some smaller ones, but I'm just using the big ones on this one. Yeah, it's always a bit of a labour of love putting them on and then peeling off the backs, but that's definitely what works best for me, so I'm going to stick with that for now. So that's my top part of my layout done. All those layers are all in place. My background is dry now, so now I can go ahead and get the rest of my layout stuck down and in place. So I'm just starting off with those 2 photos. Well, one's a photo, one's a journaling card, and obviously this is a monochrome layout, so I'm only going to use shades of black and white and also blues as well. So I'm just having a quick look through the embellishments in this kit and pulling out which bits might work for me. I absolutely am in love with these Pretty Little Studio frames. They're super beautiful. They're really versatile and great to use, and I love the pop of black on a layout always. I think it makes the layout really stand out and really pop. I pulled out 2 of those and layered them behind my photos. I've also pulled out that title you can see, Better Together. Actually, I don't end up using that. I'm now just going through the Paige Evans ephemera and pulling out some bits and pieces that go with the photo that I've got, and also are the right colours. So there might be lots of other things that went well, but they were the wrong colours, so I couldn't really use them on this layout. So I'm kind of introducing a greenish shade here, but I think it still works with the whole monochrome thing. I don't think anyone's being too strict. I really love that title on the Paige Evans. It's really great for thickers, puffy phrase thickers. Make your own magic. But when I put it down, I didn't like it on top of the mixed media. I just felt that it kind of got a bit lost. So I've taken it all off again, and I'm sticking it onto a piece of white cardstock, and then I'm just going to cut it out so that my letters have a small background behind them, which just gives a bit of extra separation between the letters and the mixed media in the background. It's obviously the splatters and things show through the middles of the letters and in between the gaps in the letters, and it can just make it look a little bit, it's just a little bit too busy. It just needs that extra layer of separation. So I'm just going to cut around this white card quite narrow. You can see that stands out much better, but now I don't like it because it's too big. So I'm going to cut out each word individually and hope that looks a little bit better. So having it all in one piece was just a bit overwhelming. It covered up my mixed media completely, and I wanted some of it to show still, but yeah. So it also means I can put my words in slightly different positions too. So I've got, there you go, so it's not exactly as the way that it was on the sheet, that's much better with the letters cut, the words cut separately. So that's looking better. I'm happier with that. So now I'm just going to go kind of round and get things stuck in place, add bits and pieces, and get everything stuck down. So I'm really happy with how this is looking. I haven't stuck down any of my middle layers, but I'm going to go ahead and get those hearts stuck down. Normally they would leave those till last. I'm just using some silver thread. I want to tie some silver thread through the tag at the top of the photo, and I needed to do that before I stuck everything else down, so that's why I kind of pulled out my thread before I carried on sticking anything else down. So I'm just pulling out the silver, and I'm wrapping the silver thread around the hole in the tag a few times. I'm leaving the ends dangly long, and I'm going to poke that behind my photo, and then the ends will dangle down underneath my photo and probably underneath my title as well once everything is in place. There you go, my tag's in place, my photo is now in place. So now I'm just going to add these tags. I'm going to layer them on top of each other like that. And I'm going to get my journaling card stuck in place as well. You'll notice that I raised the top of that journaling card on foam pads but stuck the bottom edge flat. And that's because I like the bottom edges of my big paper layers to be flat so that I can add extra embellishments without having too many different heights on my page. Also, it's slightly controversial because I do need to write on the journaling card, and obviously having foam pads underneath it doesn't make for the best work surface, but I manage it. It works out perfectly well. So now I'm getting my title stuck down. Obviously it's really easy to raise my title on foam pads now that I've got that backing on it, and can you see how I've staggered my words there, and that has worked really well now with the words being cut separately, but also being on the white cardstock background. So I'm really happy with how this is looking. I'm just going in and adding a bit more silver thread because I have got silver thread on my tag at the top, and I felt that I need to bring that into the other clusters on the layout too. So I'm just adding one to the bottom right corner where the little tags are, and then I've just added a bit more thread at the top near the tag. And then I found this really lovely phrase that was on a banner sticker, if you like, in the Paige Evans ephemera. So I just cut it so that it's not a banner anymore, cut the 2 phrases, and then I can stick those down where I want them. Coming in now with some Pink Fresh Studio stickers. I've got 3 there. One is around, this like the mixed embellishment pack. It's a really nice set of embellishments, all different types. And I've got a wooden button there, like an epoxy flare, and then a little layered sticker at the top there as well. So I'm really nearly done now, just finishing off the last bits and pieces. Now I'm sticking down those little word phrase banner there, and I'm just coming in with some smaller embellishments at this point. So I do like to add little bits and pieces to my layouts. I love all the little circles on the Paige Evans Truly Grateful puffy stickers there, so I've just gone through and added those. They're kind of like enamel dots, but they're bonus enamel dots because they're on a thicker sheet, so how awesome is that? And I'm just going in and adding some sequins. So the Paige Evans had a mixed embellishment pack, of which contained a whole bunch of sequins. Now the sequins are mostly pink, but I've just pulled out the white ones and I've just added those to my layout. So yeah, I'm really nearly complete at this point. Oh, coming back in with a little bit more thread, I just can't resist it. I love it so much. I decided at this point that it needed a little bit right at the top, and I'm just going to stick it underneath one of the scallops on the top edges, the top edge there. So I'm just fiddling around with that, making sure that's tucked under nicely with the ends dangling down, but doesn't look like I've placed it there specifically. Do you know what I mean? Trying to make it kind of look natural, like it's supposed to be there. Okay, so I've kind of achieved that, and then the final thing I need to do is just handwrite in my journaling. So I'm just going through and adding a little story about me and my boy out for a hot dog. And he's covered in ketchup all over his lips, which is why he wanted me to take a photo of him. Okay, so that is me done. Thank you so very much for joining me today. Don't forget to head on over to the Hip Kit Club Facebook group. We're having the Sketch Friday challenge today, and it's open for a week, so go on and play along. There's a voucher up for grabs. Okay, so thank you so much for watching me. That was Nikki Rowland for Hip Kit Club.